Hi and welcome to my channel where I'm sharing my sewing journey to craft a handmade wardrobe that I love. In this video I'm going to be sharing the projects that I'm going to be working on in July to create some really staple pieces that I'm going to wear time and time again. My name's Hannah. I'm a proud born and bred Yorkshire lass with a love for all things craft. My crafting journey started 15 years ago and has since grown into a love for sewing, knitting, crochet and embroidery. I started making my own clothes about 10 years ago, but life happened and I kind of fell out of the habit of crafting things for my wardrobe. In recent months, YouTube has started showing me all of these great inspiring videos of people crafting their own wardrobe, and it really inspired me to jump back in and start sewing again and share that journey with you, to show the patterns that I find and the skills that I develop along the way. I'd say that at this stage I'm very much a confident beginner or intermediate sewer. So there's still a lot of skills that I have never tried that I'm looking forward to developing and building my confidence with sewing as I work through some of the projects. I've picked out around 6 or 7 projects for July, which is quite an ambitious goal, but they are all like confident beginner pieces, so it should be hopefully quite straightforward to sew and help give me a confidence boost before moving into some more advanced pieces. There is one project that I'll get to that is a little bit more of a complicated piece that's maybe more intermediate on the range, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know whether I'll manage to finish that piece in July, but I've got it on the list to share with you so that you can see what my goals are and what I'm building up to. So jumping into the projects that I want to be working on in July, the very first piece that I'm going to be making is a Bardo style sheared top, and I actually found this in a YouTube tutorial video by Sewing with Olive. She has a series that I believe is called Sunday Sewing Club, where she shows how to make pieces without a pattern, so they're self-drafted pieces based on your own measurements. And this is not something that I've ever done before when making clothes, so I'm really excited to try a new way of making clothes and patterns just based on measurements alone. And I'll link all of the videos and patterns and where I can the fabrics below. So this Bardo top that I'm looking to make is quite a straightforward piece. It's just made with 2 rectangles, and it's got a really cute off the shoulder cut. It's cropped and has this shearing around the bottom. And I've seen so many videos of people making sheared tops and dresses at the minute, and it seems like a really popular style and skill at the minute, and it's not something that I've done a lot of. I'm sure I have done some shearing in the past, but I can't remember exactly what it was I was working on. So I'm starting here to have a go at that, and I just think the style of the top is really cute. I think it'll look really nice with some jeans, and just great for sort of weekends, out and about, that kind of thing. So the fabric that I've chosen is this double gauze fabric from myfabrics.co.uk, and I'll link it below. It's a really delicate floral pattern in just an off-white textured double gauze. I really like the pattern, especially because it's got these really cute little hedgehogs in it. It's quite delicate, so you can't obviously see that they're hedgehogs, but they're quite dainty and pretty. And I think it's just a really nice top that I'll probably get quite a bit of wear through the seasons because of I think it would work really well for spring and summer, but then the colours in it are quite autumnal as well. So I think into sort of September and October time, I could still wear it with a cardigan on slightly warmer days. So I'm hoping that it's both a pattern and a fabric that I'll be able to get a lot of wear from. So I'm really pleased with this fabric choice, and I think it'll be a really nice weight. Hopefully it will shear and gather well, but still hold the kind of structure more across the top. So I'm really looking forward to making this as my first piece in July. The video tutorial is excellent. It looks really straightforward, and I think it will be pretty easy to assemble the top following the instructions. So I'm hoping that it'll only take maybe an hour or two once I've cut the pieces out to assemble it on. So it's a nice, quick, easy win to get me started and to have a bit of a confidence boost. The next piece that I'm wanting to make is the Hansy top, which is a seam work pattern. I believe it might be one of their free patterns, but it's a really nice casual kind of t-shirt style top with a patch pocket detail and just a nice sort of floaty casual top that I think will look great with everything and just be a really handy top that I reach for again and again in my wardrobe, which is something that I'm really keen to create, of pieces that I can wear every day and really get a lot of use out of. So the fabric I've chosen for this one is another double gauze fabric from My Fabrics, and this one is a polka dot pattern in the colour Petrol. So it's a really nice kind of deep turquoise colour. It's one of my favourite colours, so it's a really pretty colour, and will go with a lot of things that I already have in my wardrobe as well. So I really liked this fabric. They actually only had 80 centimetres left listed on the site, so I wasn't sure that I was going to manage to get the top out of what was left, but I didn't want to leave it there. So I've risked it and I've laid the pattern pieces out on it, and it looks like it should be fine to get it out of this tiny bit of fabric. But I'm really pleased that I'm going to manage that. And in fact, if I have enough of the previous fabric with the hedgehogs on left over from making the Bardot top, I think I'm going to also make Hansy in that fabric as well, just because I think it's such a versatile top that I think will, like I said, I'll wear again and again. So hopefully I'll manage to get the two pieces out of that one bit of fabric and add an extra piece to my wardrobe as well. And like I said, it's quite another straightforward, I think it's another beginner level piece where you've just got the front and the back, some neck facing and the patch pocket. So once it's all cut out, hopefully it'll be straightforward to assemble and just have a really nice finish on the piece. The next project I want to work on is another seam work pattern, and this is the Loretta top. This is another, it's a piece that can be worn off the shoulder, or it can be worn on the shoulder with a kind of wider neck and has quite a flowy shape to it. Again, another piece that I think will just be worn again and again, and that was what I'm really going for this month, is just pieces that I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of, because I think there's quite the temptation when you're making your own wardrobe to pick all of the fabrics with the really nice patterns and all of the really bold prints, and a lot of these are, particularly the next one I'm going to show you is can be quite a bold print, but I think the top itself will go really well with jeans, which is what I wear about 90% of the time anyway. But I'm also trying to, when I'm picking fabrics, make very conscious decisions about whether it will coordinate with things in my wardrobe or whether it will, I want to create pieces that I can wear over and over again, really, rather than the bold prints in the dramatic dress patterns that are beautiful, but I'm only going to wear on special occasions. So with the Loretta top, I think it's a great piece that's got a beautiful drape to the sleeves and just a really comfy looking but well put together fit. And for that one, I've picked this floral print, which, as I said, is the most bold, I think, of the patterns that we've got. But I really love the colourway. I think that the colours are really pretty. They're, again, like the first fabric, they will kind of tone very well right from spring through into autumn. So I don't think it's kind of quite limited on the seasons. I think it's, although the pattern itself feels quite summery, I think it will wear pretty well throughout the majority of the year. So I'm really pleased with that, because the colours on the website did look maybe a little bit bolder than they are. They're quite muted, and actually I'd say quite autumnal in the palette. So again, another really nice fabric that I'm going to get quite a lot of wear out of. It is another double gauze fabric. from my fabrics, and it was I just kind of stumbled across this one as I was checking out the others. So I'm really pleased I found it, and I think it'll look really nice in the Loretta just because of the floaty shape of it, of the top, paired with the floral fabric. I think it'll just look very delicate and very feminine, and very pretty, and I think it's going to be one of those tops that looks really nice just day to day, or if I'm going out somewhere that wants something a little bit more special but not overly dressed up. Again, I think because the pattern's quite bold and sort of carries itself, then I think it's a really nice piece that can dress up or dress down. So that is what I'm going to be working on for the Loretta top. Again, it's another pattern that I believe is classed as beginner or confident beginner, so should hopefully come together quite nicely and quite easily. It does have a two versions, and I'm making the shorter of the two. So I like the shorter length rather than the more sort of tunic style length top. So I think with those combinations of fabrics and styles, that should help me build out a nice selection of day-to-day tops to choose from that I can wear over and over again. So the last top that I am going to be making in July is the Riley top. Again, it's another Seamworks pattern. The reason I've picked so many of the Seamwork patterns is I have recently made a couple of theirs, and they were the first patterns that I've made since having a long break from making clothes, and they were just so easy and straightforward to follow that the ones that I've made so far have just come together in a couple of hours from cutting to a finished product, and I really like that. I really like how simple it is. I really love their styles as well. They're very similar to the style of clothes that I would typically pick, and I think they're just it's a really nice confidence boost while I'm trying to get back into sewing and build up my confidence and my skill set again, to have some of these pieces that look really beautiful when they're finished and look very, I feel very comfortable in them. They're very much my style, but they don't, they look very elevated. They look like pieces that you've spent a lot of time on but have actually come together very easily. So that's why I've gravitated to a lot of the Seamwork patterns this month particularly. Also, their sizing works really well for me. I don't have to worry about grading. I just fit one of their sizes pretty much exactly. So there's the comfort in knowing that a lot of these pieces, I don't have to worry about making any alterations to the size, and I'm going to get a really good fit, so that's why I'm leaning towards a lot of the Seamwork patterns this month. But the next one is the Riley top, and I think this is a really cute top. I really like the shape. It's a boat neck top, and then kind of it's got these ties at the bottom to give it that sort of cropped look, and then the tie in to sort of give it this really cute shape. I think it's a really nice casual top, great for holidays and things where you just want something lightweight, and I think it's just cute. It's a cute pattern. I really like it. It wasn't one of my first picks, but I just couldn't get it out of my head after I'd seen it, so I decided I was going to have a go at making it. The fabric that I'm going to be using is one from my stash, so I don't remember where it came from. I think it was probably one of my local fabric shops, but I can't remember exactly what blend it is and where it was from. But it's this really pretty mint fabric with dainty little sort of blue and pink flowers on it. It's a really lightweight fabric that I think it'll flow very, very well for the shape of the top. I think it'll just be a nice summery top to wear that's cool and breathable, but just looks really cute and really pretty detail, really. Definitely more on the summery side, but I'm really excited to make this piece actually and see what it looks like in the fabric, because it'll be with the tie details and everything. It's a bit different from the other pieces that I've picked. So I'm interested in seeing how it comes together, particularly in this fabric, and what the finished product looks like. So I'm really excited about that one. And the next pattern that I'm making is also going to use this fabric. I haven't checked. I think I'm going to be okay to get both of them out of this fabric. I'm not sure exactly how much I bought, but there's quite a bit here. I think at least 2 meters. So hopefully I'll manage to get the Riley top and the next piece, which is the poppy playsuit. Now, this was a pattern that was from Simply Sewing magazine several years ago now, I imagine. I have actually made this pattern once before, several years ago, and I love the piece. I have worn it a lot, but I made it in a more structured cotton fabric that was a little bit stiffer and held its shape a little bit more. So what I really wanted to do this time was make something in a much more floaty fabric that just sort of hangs a little bit differently. It's a little bit less rigid, a bit more comfortable and breathable. So I think this fabric will work really well. I think it might be what I bought the fabric for originally when I first purchased it. But it's just a really nice lightweight piece. So you can see that it drapes really nicely, and I think that will be just make a really pretty playsuit that I think will just be really comfortable to wear, but look really kind of put together. It's what I love about playsuits. You don't have to worry about tops and bottoms and stuff. It's just one piece, and that obviously makes it 10 times easier, which is probably why the ones that I do have get so much wear. So I'm looking forward to this. Poppy itself is a pattern with an elasticated waist, so the fit, I tend to size up on the pattern itself. I make a slightly larger size, more because I need a bigger size at the hips than anywhere else. So it's a really easy piece because I can just make the bigger size but then pull in that elasticated waist, and then the back piece fastens with a hook and eye. So it's just really comfy, easy piece to put on and take off, but then fits really well, even though I've sort of sized up a little bit, because the elasticated waist is very forgiving and makes it a bit easier to get a really good fit on it. And again, another piece that's great for beginners and hopefully will come together really nicely and be another great addition to my wardrobe that I'm really excited about. So the next project is one that wasn't originally on my list of July projects, but I found a fabric that I loved and couldn't resist, and bought the fabric first and then had to try and find a pattern to fit the fabric, which isn't normally the way that I like to do things, but I just couldn't resist the fabric. So the pattern that I'm thinking that I'm going to be doing is the Meg dress, which is another seam work pattern. And I've had my eye on the Meg for a while, mainly because I really love the like fluttered sleeves, which was something that I'd sort of pictured when I was looking at this fabric that I've chosen. And it's another great beginner pattern. It's got a really straightforward elasticated waist, and a beautiful sort of knee length skirt that I think is just really pretty and flowy and just will be a great addition to my wardrobe. And the fabric that I picked is it's the same as the one that I'm using for the Hansy top, the petrol blue polka dot, but this one is in a mustard yellow colour, and I couldn't resist this colour when I saw it because it's one of my favourite colours. I think it's probably a colour that kind of suits me. I tend to gravitate towards it, and I do have a lot of dresses in my wardrobe that are already this colour, but I think it just works really well with a lot of the things that I already own, a lot of the sort of cardigans and layers and things, and it's just a really pretty, colour that makes me feel happy. So I bought 2 meters of this and I think it might be enough. I might have to print the pattern and check and get a bit creative with the layout of the pieces, but I'm optimistic that it might work. I think it's a really nice, you can see here, just a really nice sort of flirty, it's kind of a fabric, it's another double gauze fabric that has a nice drape to it that I think will look really nice for the sleeves and the skirt, but it has that kind of enough structure to it as well that it sort of, it's not super flirty, if that makes sense. It sort of should, I feel like it'll just have a nice weight and a nice drape for the Meg dress. So again, it wasn't really one that I'd planned on doing this month, and I don't know how much time I'm going to have because I've already got a lot of projects on the cards as it is. So if I get time, I would love to make the Meg dress out of that fabric, but we will see how the month evolves. And then the last pattern, the last sewing pattern that I have been eyeing up for this month is the Sophie swimsuit by Closet Core Patterns, which is obviously not a beginner's pattern. It's an intermediate, probably an intermediate level pattern. I don't know if they grade them in the same way. I can't remember if they had like a skill level or anything, but a lot of the reviews that I've read said that it is it's a pattern that has a lot of steps, but the steps are very well explained. So a lot of people have said it's quite a manageable pattern. It does have a lot of skills in it that I've not done before. It's got underwiring in there, and it's got all sorts of fixings and fastenings that you get with swimwear that you don't with other items of clothing. So having not made any swimwear before, I think it's going to be a challenge, but I'm quite looking forward to making something different and just learning some new skills and branching out a little bit. I really love the pattern because I think this like central panel with the sort of contrasting side panels is just a really flattering shape for swimwear. The pattern itself has options for a two-piece and a one-piece, and ultimately I would like to make both variations, and when I bought the fabric I bought enough to make both versions. So I've got loads of fabric to experiment with and see how this goes. The fabric is from my stash because I was going to make this piece years ago when I was doing a lot more dressmaking, and then I just never got around to it. So I believe it was from one of my local fabric stores, but it's this really pretty scuba fabric that has a really bold print pattern on it. It's got these really pretty colours like the fluorescent pink and the neon orange that I think are really perfect for this pattern. So this will be for the centre panel piece, and I think that I think because it's quite a large print, I think the centerpiece will be ideal for it because you'll get a really good section of that print. And I just really love it. I love the navy colour. I don't know, I always think of navy when I think of swimwear, and I'm not sure why. But I think it's just a really nice combination of colours and pattern, and just a really bold piece, bold print that I think will work really well. And then to pair with it for the sides, I have this just a solid print in the blue, which actually matches really well with the blue of the leaves there. So that's going to make up the side panels, and I can really picture this piece, you know, I can picture the fabrics as the finished piece, and I'm really looking forward to finally getting it sort of completed really. But because it is a more complicated piece, I'm going to take my time with it. I'm going to probably work through it at a much slower pace. It's not one that I'm going to start and aim to get finished in a day. I'll probably work on it a little bit at a time. Ideally, I'll be able to get it finished this month, but I'm just going to see how it goes and see how it progresses. But really excited about trying some new things and hopefully making some swimwear this month. So that's it for sewing projects, but I do have one knitting project that I want to work on this month, and When it comes to knitting, I'm very much still a beginner in the beginner stages of knitting. It's something that I have done on and off for several years, but I've never really clicked with knitting. I taught myself to crochet before I learnt to knit, and I think sometimes you have a preference for one or the other, and for me crocheting comes much more naturally, just working with the one hook, than the two needles, which can sometimes feel a bit awkward. But I have been seeing a lot of videos recently of people who are sharing their knitted t-shirts and knitted sweaters and jumpers, and it's just, I've kind of got this really romanticised idea of having a drawer full of, you know, cozy knitted clothes for the winter, and I'd really like to at least try have you know, to improve my skills and make some of those things. But I'm not going to jump straight in this next month and try and make a jumper, because there's no way I'd get bored before I'd even started. So what I have committed to doing is finishing a knitting project that I started years ago, that then got shelved, and I picked it up again recently after feeling really inspired by watching these videos of people sharing their knitting projects. And I'll be honest, I have enjoyed the process a lot more this time round. It's still quite slow going, but the project I'm working on is I believe it's called the Feno circle scarf, which is I think it was a free pattern from Ravelry. If it's still available, I'll link it below. But I started this project years ago and I got a decent amount of the way through it, but I think it felt kind of tedious. You do have to knit up a really long length. So it kind of got parked and I didn't pick it up again. But now I've come back to it, I've really been enjoying the process, and it's so far knitting up really well. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. So hopefully this final bit won't take too long, but I'm allowing myself the whole month to try and get it finished, so that if it starts feeling tedious again, I can take a break. It's a brilliant beginner's pattern because it's all stockinette stitch. So, you know, it's just backwards and forwards. I don't have to worry about counting stitches or keeping track. I can just have the TV on and just work my way backwards and forwards. So that's been really nice, that it's just been kind of not needed a huge amount of brain input, and I've just been able to see it grow over the last few weeks since I've picked it up again. I've been knitting it in this sock yarn, which I bought from an eBay seller when I started the project. So I don't even know if they are still selling, but it's a really pretty mottled grey sock yarn that I think is called Scotch Mist. So it's a lovely colour and it's a really nice texture. I think it's got quite a hardy texture to it. It's not super soft, but it does, I think it will hold the shape of the circle scarf really well. And I can show you where I'm at so far. So I've got quite a decent length on the go, and you can see it knits up in this really pretty mottled pattern, and it's just going quite smoothly so far. So hopefully that'll continue until the end of it. You can definitely see, it's quite funny, you can see where I had made two previously and then parked the project, because since I've picked it up, although I've not done much knitting in the interim, my knitting must have got a lot better, because the stitches are a whole lot neater, nothing's twisted or dropped or messy on this new section compared to the first bit that I'd made. But that's the beauty of handmade projects, isn't it? That sometimes, you know, they're not quite perfect and they tell their story. So I decided not to start again. I wanted to carry on from where I was at. So I think it tells a really nice story, and hopefully when it's done, it'll just look really, just be a great addition to my wardrobe. I think it's a really nice sort of transitional season piece. So I think September and October, as it starts getting cooler, but you've got like occasional warm days, I think it'll be really nice. In winter, I like to wear a really thick, chunky heavy knit scarf to get extra wrapped up. But in the earlier months, as it starts getting a bit cooler, it's nice to have something like the circle scarf, which isn't quite as, you know, it's an extra layer, but it's not quite as snug. So I think it'll be really nice, and the colour I think is a great addition to my wardrobe, just because it's going to go with absolutely anything. I have a denim jacket and a leather jacket that I basically just kind of alternate wearing all the time, and I think it'll go great with those and jeans and everything. So I think it's an everyday piece that I'll just get lots of wear out of. So those are the projects that I'm hoping to work on in July. As I said, it's quite ambitious. There's a lot of projects there. I am hoping to make good progress on most of them because they are all sort of beginner and confident beginner level pieces. So hopefully once I've cut them and I'm ready to go, then they will hopefully sew up pretty quickly. But we will see. It's probably a bit of an ambitious goal, and I think the more of these I do, the better idea I'll get of how much I can realistically achieve in a month. But for now, this is where I'm starting, and we'll just see how it all unfolds. So if you want to follow along and see how these pieces turn out, make sure you subscribe. My plan is to come back at the end of the month and do another video showing you how they went, what I made, what I didn't make, what I've learnt, and just to tell you a little bit about the process of making them so you can see those finished pieces and I can share my thoughts on them, and you can decide if it's something that you want to make for yourself too. And if it's something you want to see more of, let me know, because I can come back at the beginning of August and do an August project introduction as well and share some of the things that I'm already starting to think about what I want to make in August, and there's some really exciting pieces lined up. So I hope that you might want to see some of those too, and I can come back and share those with you. And finally, I'd love to know what it is you're working on in July. So leave me a comment and just tell me what it is you're sewing, knitting, crocheting, whatever, because I'm always on the lookout for new patterns, new designers and new inspiration. So you might be working on something that's going to inspire one of my upcoming projects as well, and I'd love to hear about it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.